I am a 5th grade teacher in Central Indiana, and I am in year 20. So join me and see what we did this week. This week we had a couple of assessments, so we didn't do nearly as many activities and practice that we would normally have done. For math, we took a assessment over decimals, adding and subtracting decimals. And so we did play a game called Beat the Expert. And so what that is, I found it through social media, but you pick 5 experts, and if they get it wrong, they have to get out of the hot seats or the expert seats, and then you pick somebody who got it right, and they go over and they try to continue to always be an expert. So it's nice for the kids to see that not all the kids know what's going on. So those kids that really struggle, they can see that the higher kids struggle a little bit too, and miss things as well. So that was a fun one. I think they did like that game, which I have talked about previously in a video, and I will try to link it in the cards for you to that vlog that has that game in there. But it was a way to review, to see how they did with that game, and it'll be at the bottom of the barrel for me this year. Last year it was at the top, like the kids were super competitive. So that's what we played to review that. So take a minute to check out how this game went.
Oh, of course I don't have internet. Just when we want to use the board and connect everything, nothing works.
Just act like we don't want to use it.
And right, maybe it would work. 19 with your board and marker. I'll explain what we're doing in just a moment. 22.
Oh no.
4.
No, what did I ever do?
11, 7. This game is called Beat the Expert. We have 5 experts in the seats, okay? I'm going to put a math paper or a math problem on the board, which you have already done. We've already practiced them. You've had a chance to talk about what you've done wrong, and you're going to work out the problem. But you're also going to work it out here, because if somebody gets it wrong, they have to come down here, and I pick somebody who got it right randomly, and they go join, but I'm gonna switch it to Class Dojo, it's easier. And they're gonna go sit in the expert seat. So your goal is to stay there the longest. Like, you wanna be the expert, right? You don't really get anything except bragging rights that you got to stay in the chairs. Okay, just a way to be a little bit competitive, but still practice what we are doing.
In reading this week, actually today, we took an assessment over main idea and text features. And so a couple of things that we did to do some quick reviews so I could pull some kids to work with them in small groups was some task cards around the room. And this group loves task cards. So one day they did them together, and another day they did them separately. And I was able to pull kids back and talk to them about their thinking while they were doing that, and guide them a little bit in order to help them prepare for the test that they took today. So I'm hoping, I haven't had a chance to look at those, but I'm hoping that that helped out a little bit. So take a second to check out what we did here.
Are both circles. But I feel like if you go for what it's mostly what it talked about the most. If we know what it talked about the most, then that's what the answer is. And measures the talking about where they migrate to. Add another one.
In writing, we are just continuing to work on sentences. So I introduced clauses to this week. So what an independent and a dependent clause were. And now next week we will go into compound and complex sentences. So I felt they really need that vocabulary. We are also still doing a little bit of a focus on grammar as well. The other thing that I taught them this week that I hadn't done yet, and it went really well, and I think they'll enjoy it, is using Pear Deck. So Pear Deck is an add-on to Google Slides, and it allows the kids to be to be very interactive with your lesson. I really enjoy that. What I don't enjoy about Pear Deck is I have a lot of animations within my slides, and it doesn't allow for those animations. So whatever's on your slide shows up when you go to the next page. So sometimes I have to consciously think about that. And so it can get, if it's a quick check that you want to do, it works out great. But I can show you what I did with that today. All right, so to use Pear Deck, you just use your regular Google Slides. And so these are my daily slides that you can see here. I'm right here on my grammar lesson. And so if I want kids to interact and maybe type out answers so that we can talk about them quickly, that kind of thing, I will use this a lot of times. So what I would do is I would go to add-ons, and if you haven't already added it on, you would have to go to get add-ons and type in Pear Deck and add it. So since I already have it, I'm coming here to this Google Slides add-on, and I'm going to click on Pear Deck add-on to open it. And so it's going to work. And then over here, it pops up. And I only have the free version. I don't have a paid version. So you don't have access to all of the different choices. But the one that I do use mostly is the text option. And that option is free. So I would go to the slide, see like my animation. You'll see what I mean by things don't always work. I went here, and you can see down here at the bottom, I have this little pear. So this one is actually interactive. However, I didn't want that interactive. So if that is gone, then you lose the interactiveness to this slide. So I don't want it on this slide. I had copied and pasted before I was ready. So I would take those off, but I will show you what that looks like. But do you see how I had to add, if you look, let me present this real quick. So you could see that every time I click, it adds the next thing, where before I would use an animation and have it add in by paragraph so that I could just click and it's only on one slide. So now here you can see that this says students write your response. So on the kids view, they have this slide over here, but over here they have a box that they can type in. And so what my kids were doing is I was giving them a declarative sentence, and they had to take this idea and write it as a question, an exclamatory sentence, and an imperative sentence. So similar to like this one. So Mrs. Hooper is a teacher. Is Mrs. Hooper a teacher? So changing it to an interrogative sentence. Mrs. Hooper is an amazing teacher. So exclamatory and imperative. Mrs. Hooper, teach now. Is our imperative sentence. So that's what they had to do with this one. And then we were able to, once that happens, you'll see it in the video, but once that happens, you can like lock their screens, and then you can show their answers up on the whiteboard, and you can talk about what's good and what's bad and who needs to fix what. The nice thing is they don't post their names with it. So that's like a paid version part to it, I believe. But in the free version, it's just their sentences that go up. So I remind them, even if we talk about your sentences and they're not good, we can still learn from that. Nobody knows it's yours unless you share. And so if I pick yours and you need work, it's great because we get to talk about it, and and nobody knows you needed that extra help. So, that's a great way to get some kids that are very hesitant about participating. It's a good way to get them to participate because they are not called out that way. it's Friday and we've taken a couple of assessments this week, I just decided, you know what, I have such an artsy class. Let's do some directed drawing type things. So I gave them a couple of different websites that they could use in Google Classroom where they could go and pick out a drawing that they have videos that tell them how to draw it, or pictures that have step-by-step drawings. The websites that I use for that are artprojectsforkids.org. She has some amazing step-by-step pictures, creations that you can do. I believe she does have some videos and stuff as well. The other one that I allowed them to use was Art for Kids. That is a YouTube channel, and it has a ton of different how to draw videos. It's a guy and he does it with, I think it's his own kids, but he always has a younger child with them and they're drawing it together. And so it's fun to watch him interact with them. So that's what we did today. So take a look at some of their creations. So it's a pretty short and sweet video this week. We are starting 2 new units next week, so hopefully I'll have a lot more ideas and activities to share. We are going into, multiplication of whole numbers, as well as theme and figurative language. So I have some activities that I think the kids are really going to enjoy, and so hopefully I get some good footage of that. So until next time, please make sure that you like and subscribe and help my channel grow.